Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Spence here at Core 4x4. Now this is part 2 of our Ram 2500 series. So if you missed last week's video, go back and check that out before watching this. But to catch you up, we've started with a 1-inch lift on the rear of this truck, as well as a massive overhaul on the entire suspension in the rear with Thurin soft ride coils, a 1-inch spacer, Fox shocks, and our complete rear 7-piece kit in aluminum. And today we're going to finish out the build with a 3-inch lift in the front, as well as the Fox Performance Series shocks to match. And today we're introducing our new radius arms for these trucks. Now this is an awesome part I'm super excited about, because if you're like me and you like overkill, this is a part for these trucks. Now we built these with 3/16 plate steel, but they're fully box welded as well as internally gusseted and completely enclosed so that no water or grime gets inside. As well, on the frame side here, the pivot end, we're using the massive 3-inch Johnny joints from Rock Jock. These are an awesome upgrade over the factory rubber because they're going to give us more range of motion off-road as well as better ride quality on the road. Now we've also included this inward bend in the control arm to allow for a bigger tire. So on a factory wheel and a factory offset, you can run a 35-inch tire without any rubbing. And with even more offset, you can run a 37 or even a 40-inch tire with some trimming and modification. Up top here, we've also included attachments for limiting straps, which this truck may need when we're done. We'll go out and test it and see if that's the case. But now that we have more flexibility, more height, and more down travel, we might need to limit that a little bit so we don't lose our coils off-road. Okay, now the last thing on the arms I wanted to mention, these are for lifted trucks. They're built for 3 inches of lift and above to add back your wheelbase and give you more adjustment range for your caster to get your alignment in at those lifted heights. Now before we get under the truck, we are also going to be adding our adjustable track bar and our extended sway bar end links to round out this lift, and finishing off with the wheels and tires behind me, which we're going to be running a 35-inch tire on a new Method wheel. So by the end of this video, this truck is going to be a completely different beast. It's going to haul better, tow better, ride better, off-road better. I'm done talking. Let's get into the truck and start tearing parts off. All right, so before we got into teardown, I wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of what we're going to be doing. So if you're doing this at home, you can follow along. Right now we do have the axle supported with the jack stands, but that means we do have a bit of compression on our suspension, and we don't want that when we start detaching things. But we do need it while we take off what would be our limiting factors in our down travel, which would be our shocks, our end links, and probably our front track bar as well. Those 3 things are going to be what limit our droop and prevent us from removing the old coils and putting the new taller 3-inch coils in. So while we have a little bit of weight on the suspension, we're going to detach those 3 things first, and then we'll be able to droop the suspension enough to actually detach the whole radius arm assembly here. But on top of that, we are also going to detach our brake line. We don't want to be stretching that out because we are going to be drooping the axle quite a bit to get the new 3-inch coils in. So yeah, basically that's the order of operations. So we're going to get right into it, and let's start taking things off this truck. All right, again, I highly recommend a ratcheting 18 mil. I didn't learn my lesson on the rear end. We don't have it today. I don't know where mine's at. This is gonna take a while. Ooh, almost lost that. Get the shock out. I actually put penetrating fluid on this one. It's so much easier. I don't know why I thought, oh, it's a 2018 with no rust. Don't put penetrating fluid. I do penetrating fluid in like every video. Always use penetrating fluid, even on the newer stuff. There we go. Let me get another jack stand. I was kind of worried about this. Ooh, ow. All right, teardown is complete. I do recommend using penetrating fluid. I skipped it this time and I was kind of regretting it on some of these bolts. And this seems like a theme for this truck or this series, that a ratcheting 18mm wrench, highly recommend for the shocks, the end links, everything makes it go a lot smoother. But other than that, we're ready for install. We're gonna start by putting the new radius arms on because there is nothing supporting this axle besides the 3 jack stands. And I do also want to mention that you are going to want a jack stand under your pinion, because as soon as you pop those arms off, it's going to want to rotate back on you. But we're going to get the arms on, then we'll put the coils in, then we'll do the shocks, the end links, and the track bar is going to be the last thing because that's easiest on the ground. So we'll show you how to do that after the wheels and tires are on. But for the torque spec on the arms, they're going to be 200 foot-pounds. Now these bushings in the axle side are rubber, so we will be torquing those on the ground. Always torque rubber at your ride height so you don't create a preload on your bushings, which causes them to fail. I talk about this in every video we do. Rubber, you have to torque on the ground at ride height. Now our frame side here is that Johnny joint, which has that independent ball center, which won't have any preload if we torque it in the air. So we're gonna get that one torqued down in the air. Again, that's 200 foot-pounds. And then after we get this set back down, we'll do these, we'll get them kind of close, but we'll get them torqued down on the ground at our new ride height. So yeah, that's it, let's get into it. Okay, we need to shift back. Marissa,
yeah.
I need you to move this jack stand when I lift the axle. Okay, let's try that. You go up a hair. A little more. Okay. Let's get the other one situated. Okay, Marissa.
What?
I need you to let down the lift. Okay, nice and slow. Okay, hold on. Okay, that should be good. Okay, shocks on. Let's move on to the end link for this side. So since we're onto the front and we have the advantage of the steering, we're gonna put all the wheels and tires on. We'll get a chance to see what the truck looks like. We're gonna set it on the ground, get the track bar in, torque down our radius arms, and then we're gonna be done with this install. Okay, here we go. Oh dude, that one fits. Okay, so with new wheels, we got new lug nuts. And we have one wheel that might not fit. Okay, Now for the track bar. You guys, we're gonna do the track bar. All right, so we're getting ready to put the track bar on, and I'm gonna show you a trick, and I show this in all my track bar videos, to where we're using the steering wheel to line up the holes. Don't use ratchet straps, don't try to lift it up and down. It's a lot easier this way. But as always, we're gonna pre-grease our poly before we put it in, just so we don't have to spend so much time working grease through the zerks and out to the bushings. And this way we'll have it right where we need it from install. So pre-grease the poly, we're gonna get under the truck. I'll show you how to line it up with the steering wheel. Okay, this is all I wanted to show while we're under the truck. As you can see here, we're about 1 inch off. Now, if you just have a buddy turn the steering wheel back and forth, that's gonna shift our body left to right, and it's gonna allow us to line up this bolt. So Cameron, go ahead and turn the steering wheel. Yeah, that's the right direction. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, hold on, we're gonna adjust the bar out more. Let it off. Let off a little. There we go. Hold it there. Someone give me a hammer. Shimmy. All right, we're just gonna impact it in. There we go, okay. All right, so we got the radius arms torqued down at ride height on those rubber bushings on the axle side. And we're gonna move on to the track bar. This is just gonna be a lot easier to do in the air. But before we got to that, I wanted to talk a second about settling a lift kit. So we have all brand new springs on all 4 corners, and we get this all the time with the Jeeps and the Ram. Your lift kit needs to settle when it's new. So we're gonna need to take this truck out and drive it for a bit. We're gonna drop it off some curbs. We're gonna just try to work the springs, because you really need that to settle to its actual ride height. Once we've done that, we're gonna come back and we're gonna break those rubber bushings loose and re-torque them, because there is gonna be a small preload on them and we don't want that. And then we're also gonna do all our final adjustments and actually get the truck aligned. Because all too often people put a brand new lift kit on, brand new springs, brand new shocks, and then they try to get all their alignment in, and then the next day or two, it's completely off. So instead of paying for 2 alignments, we're gonna avoid that. We're gonna get everything close enough so we can drive it, get this settled. But for the torque specs on the track bar, your frame and axle are 200 foot-pounds. And then on this adjuster sleeve, it is important to line up the open portion of the clamp with the open portion or the slit in the adjuster sleeve. And the torque spec on these 2 bolts is 60 foot-pounds. And after we've done that, we're gonna tighten our jam nut all the way up against the adjuster sleeve. And the torque spec on that one is 250 foot-pounds. And I'll say it time and again, you cannot get these too tight. But yeah, and then we're done. We can set this down and go drive it. Stupid plastic thing, Cameron. That sounded like a click. Oh. I don't think this torque wrench likes 250. All right, guys, that wraps it up. We got everything done. Now, again, just to recap, we are gonna do a settling period, come back and re-torque and do our final alignment. But for now, it's good to drive, and this is just gonna be an all-new beast of a truck. I've said that several times. So I'm super excited to get this truck out, drive it around, get it settled, and just see how it does. But I already know it's gonna tow better, it's gonna drive better, it's just gonna feel better all around. We've done some massive upgrades. We might do another video on this truck, so stay tuned for next week. But before that, like, comment, subscribe. That really helps us out in what we're doing, and we'll catch you in the next one.